Hello, everyone. Hello, Sagies. Um, as you know me already, I am Indigo Sage, and we have here a collab with PiaTalks. All right. So, hello, peeps. You are welcome, and I am delighted to have a collab with you.
I am super excited to be a part as well. Hello, Sagies, and hi to the peeps. We're back, okay? And we're talking The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, season 11, reunion part 2. Okay, so this reunion starts off, they are going in for Erica. That's pretty much the part that I paid attention to. The rest of it, I don't care anything about Amelia.
Exactly.
Anyway. Andy asked Erica, was she always faithful to Tom? And this woman says that she was faithful to Tom until she filed for divorce. Now, listen, I think she's lying. I really do. I don't believe her. I have seen on so many blogs, even some of her former employees stated that she always had a little something on the side. And when you think about it, when you're as young as she is and Tom is in his 80s, wouldn't you need a little something on the side? Because I know I would, but I'm not condoning.
I was gonna say she's supposed to love him. Old dust or no old dust. She's supposed to love him.
I know. I'm wrong for that. I don't condone adultery, people. I'm just saying.
His stuff must work because she said that he got 3 other women's.
Yeah, so, she did talk about that. When she was bringing that up, I was thinking to myself, what is happening? Who is working with Tom?
Is he really
any little blue pills involved?
Honey, he's a secret Mac Daddy. But how you go from Mac Daddy status to, now you don't know where you are. You got black guys, you're falling, and
I don't believe any of that. I am so sorry. I don't. They had a fan question that said something about Tom last year at their party, how active he was, and then all the girls jumped in. Well, her girl squad, who was at Lisa, Erica, and Dorit, all jumped in to say that that's just how Alzheimer's and dementia works. You're on a loop, and you just keep talking about, the same old stories that you know. But did you notice Crystal's facial expression?
Yes.
Because she said that her father had Alzheimer's. And she was looking as if those ladies were lying.
Yeah, it was dead silent.
Did you notice Sutton's face?
Everybody.
The whole reunion, she was staring at Erica like, you big liar.
Liar, pants on fire.
That was rough.
I was just like, something. Even Kathy. Kathy was still in that mode of, I don't know her. Not a word from Kathy.
She did say that this season too. She said,
I don't know her. Who is she? I don't know. Where are we at? Girl, when and you notice Erica was like, Kyle, tell me your friend. And I'm like, huh? And Kyle was like, yes, my friend. And like it was rehearsed.
They staged that. They planned that. I'm telling you, that's that girl gang.
I need to nerd out. I tell my sages all the time, I will nerd out and find out some information. I'm like, let's see if her friend is real. Or is that a part of Tom's imagination?
That too. I said, you know what? Maybe I should Google how Alzheimer's really, what happens when someone has Alzheimer's. Do they get stuck on a loop like she said? But we've seen Tom throughout, and it just doesn't make sense that all of a sudden he has, deteriorated the way he has. And don't you think it's odd that everybody was all over the place saying, we can't find Tom. Where is Tom? But paparazzi always knows where Tom is.
Girl.
And then when they showed that picture with him and that black eye, I said, is this some kind of stage situation? Like her shopping at TJ Maxx? I just don't buy it.
You got to get dog food, though. Yes. Maybe that's what she gets her dog. Her dog.
But it's so weird to me.
Her dog has an expensive life. It ain't expensive.
You at the TJ Maxx with your personal assistant.
Girl, and you know what? Overall, I was disappointed because Erica is a bad actress.
Oh, God.
Everything sounds so rehearsed, and the timing and everything. It just was a regurgitation of what we've already heard her say. And every question he asked, like it's like she was ready,
She
rehearsed,
was.
rehearsed, and then the little minions just yes, you know. First of all,
Lisa Rinna and all the head nods. Did you see her? All that. I said, "Are you a bobblehead, ma'am? Stop it."
yes, yes,
There's a lot going
yes.
on.
I'm a bobblehead right now for that. Yes, yes, she is. She is. She's
Oh my
sickening.
gosh.
She's really, really sickening. Um, and you know, and it amazed me with the Kyle and Dorit jumping in, and even Dorit talking about that makes sense. Dorit, you don't even. I don't feel like Dorit even have a Nat's brain. Okay, maybe that was a little too mean, but Dorit,
Well, you know,
is not.
mean occasionally.
She's not the brightest crayon in the box. So what are you talking about, Dorit? All of a sudden, right now, you understand Alzheimer's right now? You get it? She said, that makes sense.
They got together and planned all of this.
I
mean, after last week's episode, the way Lisa and Dorit tried to team up on Garcelle, I said, there's no way that they did not all huddle up at the house and decide that this is what they were going to do. Because as far as I'm concerned, Lisa Rinna had zero storyline all season. She tried to piggyback on her daughters and show us her garage closet that nobody gave a damn about. And then she tried to use Garcelle. Girl, exactly. You rode all over these women for the whole season doing absolutely nothing. And the same thing for Dorit. She showed us those wedding gowns that are too costly.
Mid-season.
And she hung on to Garcelle the entire season. The only thing Dorit has been good for the whole time that she has been on this show is the fashions. That is it.
Did you hear Garcelle had said that dress wasn't all that because it was beads all over the stage?
Yes, I did hear that. She said that on Watch What Happens Live when Dorit was voted best dressed for the reunion and Garcelle came in second. She said that dress wasn't that fabulous. She said those fake pearls were falling all over the place.
Probably like little marbles. They probably had to be careful, you know, where they walked at. Girl,
please, that would have been a good paycheck for Erica. She should have slipped and fell on one of them.
Surprised she didn't. I can't wait for Erica to get in their butt about your husband and your husband, but you know, we're not there yet. But I feel like they were kissing butt. In this episode, I feel like they were kissing butt because they know Erica's gonna gun for them for what their husbands said. So it was like overcompensation to me. Yeah. And I was just like, can you please stop kissing butt that much? Like, I don't believe in kissing butt at all, but if you got
I think they're afraid of her. I think that Lisa, Kyle, and Dorit are all afraid of Erica. And to me, I feel as if Erica must know something about Lisa Rinna. Because Lisa has been up Erica's butt this entire season. And you know, last week, social media was all abuzz that allegedly Harry has a man and a woman. And I didn't hear about the woman. Erica has a little information on that. And that's why Lisa will back Erica up on everything she does and says. Otherwise, why would you be okaying this with these victims out here? It just doesn't make sense. And we have to say alleged victims because of this particular lawsuit. But one thing that I did not like is on tonight's episode, she said that this has been very difficult for her and she's dealing with this. And I said, well, how about the victims? Don't you think it's a little difficult for them? Some of the victims are cancer patients. The other victims are burn patients. And then all of the orphans and widows and widowers from the plane crash. Ma'am, they are struggling to live day to day. They are not living in a $9,000 a month place going on private jets. I mean, are you kidding me? Girl, bye. And it's that same question that Andy asked her, he said, if you didn't have any money, how did you move into this apartment, buy a new Range Rover?
It's gonna come through, Andy. I didn't know Andy would come through. He came through.
And you know what? Allegedly, the head people over at Bravo and NBC Universal told him that he better not soft pedal this. He needs to hit her hard with the hard questions. You know, Bravo is the winner in all of this because they have gotten the best ratings they have ever gotten, period, just because of this girl and her situation. And they're about to spruce up those ratings over there at Salt Lake City, too, when they start showing Jen and her alleged crimes.
I don't watch that show, but I am going to start. I'm going to start.
You need to watch it right before they start talking about this woman and her allegedly stealing from the elderly. I knew something wasn't right with her. She is mentally unstable, in my opinion.
I never watched not one episode, but I am going to get into
it. The first season only had about 10 episodes, I think.
Okay.
So you can catch up with them really easy.
Okay, I will. But what I want to say about Bravo, and this is one thing that I'm really watching the reunion for, and I'm kind of like irritated that it's 4, because tonight they could have done without tonight's one and just got more to whatever the nitty gritty is. And what I'm watching them very carefully for is to see how much are they gonna take advantage of the situation as well, because they're making money off of the victims' backs as well.
Absolutely.
That's how I see it. You know, like they're, you know, Andy is asking her and demanding her to answer about the victims, but at the same time he's doing that because he knows that's where the money is at.
It sure is. And that's why they made it a 4-part reunion.
Yeah, he doesn't.
When have we seen a 4-part reunion before? This part here did not have to be. They could have put Erica's all in one episode and then dealt with the rest of these crazy women who didn't have storylines for the second episode.
Because they didn't. Where were they?
Yeah,
and I know
didn't need 4.
Giselle, her storyline, just because I always ask this, what are their storylines? Mm-hmm. Giselle had the dating, which she next season she needs to come with more than that. And what else is she? Oh, family.
Her daughters are the most interesting thing about Giselle, because they always get
no, not Giselle. No. Did I say Giselle? I meant Garcelle.
You said Giselle, yes. Oh, Garcelle.
So sorry, Garcelle, I do that all the time.
She should bring a little more next season. You know, they have been spreading around this rumor that allegedly Bravo is thinking about paying Lisa Vanderpump $2 million for the season in order to bring her back, and they're toying with getting rid of Dorit. But that's all alleged. I don't know how true that is. But you know what? I would love to see Garcelle, Lisa Rinna, and Denise come on to the show. And if they really want to make me happy, bring back Crazy Camille, because Camille isn't afraid to fight with people. And I think that they would really give Erica, Dorit, and Lisa and Kyle a run for their money. And you know, Kathy is friends with Lisa Vanderpump. Yeah. So they could be a, you know, with Sutton, they could be a crazy group. But I did hear that Sutton is studying for her LSATs. She has decided after all of this mess that's been going on this season that she wants to be a lawyer.
I heard that. And I was wondering, is that real? Is that, you know?
She said that to, I think it was Page 6. And the crazy thing is, you know, in California, you don't have to go to law school. You just have to pass the bar. So she's studying to take the LSATs. I don't know if that's because she is going to go ahead and go through the law school or not. But that would be good.
She's not playing.
No, she's not. I like Sutton.
You know what? Okay, so let me be honest. Because I got some readings on my channel. The very first one on Sutton. I was not feeling Sutton. I thought she was too needy. She was too needy. And I was like, girl, you're not going to make it. Yeah. You got to put your, what they call them, grown woman panties on or whatever. You know, you're not going to make it. And even I was cracking up, but in a bad way, when she was on that first trip, when she was just making a list of all the names that she had been called. and when they came in the room to talk to her, she said, I'm going to add that to the list right now. And they have a clip going around where Rinna says, don't be defensive. Kyle says, add that to your list. And she does.
Yes, that was terrible. That was so mean.
It was hilarious.
But I laughed.
But I was like, you're not going to make it, sweetheart. Got upset because homegirl kicked her. But, you know, I'm like, how hard was that kick? But she's changed my mind.
Yeah, you know what? You are not alone there, because if you watch any of my videos at the beginning of the season, I was for sure she was nuts. I just didn't understand what was going on. She was so delicate and she cried so much. Yes. Even in one of my videos, I pulled out my face roller because she said she needed it for what did she say it was? She said that it was comforting or something for her. And I said, ma'am, that's a face roller. She was doing a lot. But when this whole Erica thing broke, I said, wait a minute now. I can get into this character. I really like her.
You know what?
She's weird a little,
Kooky.
Yes, her heart is light. She's a sweetheart, but I like that she stood up for herself this season.
Me too. Now, how do you feel about Garcelle? You know what? Let me be specific, okay? At that dinner, when what's her name? Erica was very threatening, sitting right between Garcelle and I hate the seating arrangements, but anyway.
They always put her next to Erica.
Erica was right between Garcelle and Sutton. How do you feel about in like the after shows or whatever, you know how they have the ladies get together 2-on-2, 2-2 or whatever, and they answer those questions.
Right.
Sutton said, nobody stood up for me at that table. Garcelle said, I didn't hear her. Her back was towards me. I didn't hear her. Now I saw all in the comments. They were saying Garcelle heard her. What do you think? Do you think Garcelle heard it and decided not to say anything? What do you think about that?
I'm not sure, because Sutton did make a statement that there were other things that Erica said. So I don't know if that was the part that Garcelle didn't hear, because she did say that Erica whispered it to her. Or was she talking about the part where she was saying, it's not a threat, it's a promise? Was she talking about that part?
Well, Sutton said nobody defended her. So like,
they didn't. Not really. I mean, Garcelle tried to jump in, but it didn't really do much, and I hate to say it, Dorit did try to say something, but she was so soft pedaling with it because she was afraid that Erica was going to come for her. The thing that stood out the most to me at that dinner was Kyle pretty much causing the whole commotion and setting Sutton up to be told off and yelled at
constantly, when
Erica knows that her story had more holes than that ugly shirt she was wearing. And I felt that Kyle was using Sutton to say everything that she really thought and wanted to say, but she wasn't brave enough to say it. So she just threw Sutton under the bus.
Producer. Do you know she's a producer?
Kyle is? Oh, no, I never paid attention. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why we can't get rid of her. I'd really like to get rid of her.
Me too. Because I don't know what her storyline was.
She hasn't had one for a couple of seasons. It's her thing is, I guess for this show, she's the bone collector, like Sheree was to the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
She just picked on Sutton.
She picked on Sutton the whole time, and Sutton was renting that house from her and almost burnt down her house. But
that was funny.
The fact that she acted as if she did not realize that fireplace was like to a crisp.
I was like, so you was just walking around and that happened? I mean,
and not only that, I'm like, ma'am, but there's no way you could walk past that and not realize that fireplace is burnt up.
I was like, this is not. I don't know, that struck me. I don't know how I still, because I'm like, now I'm going back to me thinking you're not all there.
Right. Like, maybe it was payback and she was hoping that Kyle didn't know.
You know what? Maybe it was. You might be on to something.
She was probably paying her back. She did mention that she would pay for the damages, but I'm thinking, you knew what you did. You just lucky that they didn't have a walkthrough or a security deposit.
Yeah.
But, that was a bit crazy to me all season. So I can't wait until the episode when they start talking about Dorit and Kyle. Because to me, out of the group with Dorit and Kyle, her husband, and PK was the only one making sense. He was the only one that was calling Erica out. But then at that Chinese New Year's party, he's all sitting next to Erica, all chummy, as if they're friends. I said, boy, you done talked about her like trash.
That's true. But one thing I like that he said, and I was like, you better come through, even if it's just this much. When she said that she's not going to pay attention to Sutton because she has bigger fish to fry, he said, yeah, but they're all fish.
Exactly.
And I said, you better come through, even if you coming through just this much.
That's true.
I was like, tell her, you know.
That is so true.
But then remember, he also asked, didn't he ask Kyle if we should tell her what we said?
Oh, yes, he did. And she said, well,
Hell
you
no.
can,
No,
or something like that. She was okay with him telling what he said, but she wasn't ready to face that. They, to me, seem to be very frightened by Erica.
What?
But I would love to see Bravo put Erica over at Potomac or over at Atlanta. That attitude, that smart mouth of hers, that's not going to work over there, ma'am. Or in New Jersey, because Teresa will hand her face.
The table will be on her head. Oh
gosh. She said on the reunion tonight that Tom has all her paychecks.
Girl, oh my God.
That's weird to me. Why would you turn over your entire paycheck to Tom? And that made me think of something. When remember when she had that book out? In her book, and I quote, this is what she said. She said, the whole Erica Jane project was only possible because I'm self-funded. Now, the haters are always going to say, all you do is spend your husband's money. First of all, it's our money. You know how I know? Because the IRS tells us this. My name is on all tax returns too. Secondly, she says, I have the advantage of a strong checkbook. Okay, remember, you didn't have any checks. You said you didn't have any checks. You only had your credit cards. And I want to know, Mrs. Expensive, who was writing the payments to that glam squad that you said you were paying $40,000 a month? And if Tom had control over all of your money, why did he allegedly transfer over $20 million into your LLC? I just don't buy it, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm doing too much.
There's lies. There's lies.
The Sagies are not used to me. They are not going to be here for
well,
it.
You know, I call it lies too, but I be trying to, like, you know, soften it a little bit. But she made it so hard for me, Erica. I'm just tired of her. I think she's acting, but it's bad acting. Because honestly, let me just say this, okay? I don't feel like she knew exactly where that money was coming from. I don't feel like she honestly knew he was robbing these victims. However, I also feel like she closed her eyes. Like she didn't want to know. And I feel like that's effed up. Because I think
you're on something there.
I feel like she didn't want to know because she must have felt like it was not right. And so
ask yourself this much. If you know that you make this much money every payday from the Real Housewives, however, your account has over 20 million in it, you know you didn't make $20 million. So why wouldn't you say, where did this $20 million come from? I didn't make that. So that's as if you go to the bank tomorrow and you find a deposit in your account for $10,000.
Are you going
to be questioning?
Yes, I would. Now, some people won't. Let's keep it real. Some people wouldn't. I found $80 at the in the line at the bank one time, and I turned it in because I figured the person would be bad. You know, like I turned it in. Now I did have some friends say, "Girl, what you do that for?" I'm like, you know, I turned it in, but
they have video cameras everywhere. You don't want to be busted taking this $80.
Okay,
I'm doing it for $80. I did see a news story once where these people had a deposit in their account for $100,000 and they did not leave it sit. I'd have left it sit until they figured it out. They didn't. And they went out and spent all the money. Well, now they're going to jail. You know you didn't make $100,000.
Yeah. Yes. But, you know, and that's where she is at fault. This pretending like she didn't know where the 20, some people say it's 20, some people say it's 25 million. It's millions. I don't give it. It's millions.
It's millions.
You can't act like you don't know where that came from. But she keeps saying like she didn't have any control over it at all.
Yeah. And her story just changes too much. Constantly. And you know what? That's what I always say. I always learn that from my mom. Tell the truth, because the truth will always be the same. But if you tell a lie, you're never going to remember the lie fully. So you're going to have to tell 100 more lies to cover up that first lie. And then you're going to just talk yourself into a big circle. And that's what it seems like, especially with the car flipping over thing, the snow in Pasadena. Now, I don't live out in California. I live in
I
Ohio.
do.
But as all the rest of the ladies said, when is the last time it snowed in Pasadena?
I was so
And
glad they
Crystal
said it.
said the last time it snowed there, she was in middle school. So I don't understand. Girl, stop
Yeah, I
these
live in
crazy
Southern
stories.
California. It doesn't snow. It
Yeah.
doesn't. It
And
doesn't.
her story changed about Tom's accident. At first, she didn't know where he was. He was out all night. Then she said her son found him where his car had flipped over the cliff because he hit that switchback. And then she said that she went outside and found him. And I said, well, what happened? Did you
And then
find him or no?
tonight she said together. Her and her son
Yes.
found them together.
See, that story
That's
just
it's
keeps
rehearsed.
on
Like,
evolving. Her and those attorneys have done everything they can to prepare her for this reunion, but it's not going to work. People are seeing through this. And when he asked her about getting on that private jet wearing that's expensive. I don't know if he said Cartier or Cartier. I can't afford any of that. And she said that she didn't pay for the private jet. But that still makes it hard for people to feel sorry for you. You are still living the life of the rich and famous and, putting all those ridiculous posts on your Instagram, and these victims are still suffering. It's hard for people to feel sorry for you when you are still living the high life, living in a nice place for $9,000 a month and acting as if you're living in a roach motel.
now let me ask you, okay? Because first of all, I do feel like she is in make believe. Like I feel like she's playing a character. Now I don't agree with her doing all this acting because I just feel like it's a lot of acting. But let me ask you this, because she said in one of those recent episodes, it might have been the finale, she said she can't win either way. Okay. Because I
Yeah.
do try to look at each point of view. And she was right. Because she said if she reaches out to any victims or if she's sad, then that will, look like she's guilty. And then if she tries to get on with her life, then that looks like she doesn't give a damn. And I do see some truth in that. So let me ask you, what should she do?
I agree with that in a way. She's always going to have 50% of the people think that she's lying. And the other 50% of the people are going to think that she's possibly telling the truth. But I think there's a middle road to that. The same way that her attorneys sat down with her to talk about this reunion, they could have sat down with her to talk about her social media behavior. They could have talked to her about a nice crafted statement on apologies and her sympathies to the victims without
Yeah.
saying that she had something to do with it. I mean, there's a happy medium. You can still live this fabulous life that you want to live, but try to keep it private. Going on Instagram every day, posting yourself naked, half naked, or whatever, and making these ridiculous comments does not look good. And a lot of the victims have spoken out and said that it has been very difficult for them to watch her social
Yeah.
media and watch her on TV, at Kathy Hilton's eating that caviar pie and that specially made vodka. And, she's just been living it up, even though I do think that life has been hard for her as far as emotional. I mean, if I was in the middle of all these lawsuits, I would be crying on a regular basis. However, you can't act as if you don't see these victims.
Yeah.
But you don't show any anger towards Tom. And that's
Yes.
what Crystal was saying. Crystal said, you seem to be more angry at all of us and the victims than you are of Tom. And when the show was on tonight, when they showed that montage of happy times with her and Tom, she was smiling the entire time. And I said, now this is so crazy to me. You are acting as if Tom was having all of these affairs and he was sexting all these women. And I said, on the jitterbug, because Tom is supposed to be diminished.
Right, he was
Does he have one of them jitterbug phones? I don't know. When they pulled that picture of Tom having those silk see-through lace panties in his drawer at work, I said, oh no, oh no. And she said it was supposed to be a Valentine's Day present for one of his women. I said, oh gosh, what is happening?
That was too much. Ugh. Just like Ashley next episode, we're supposed to see her trying to. Oh, I'm sorry, I know we ain't talking about them, but
her husband irritates me. Jeez. I'm just saying.
Whew.
That is so crazy to me. You know what? I used to absolutely adore Erica. And I have told the peeps, I said, you know, when this court case is completely over, if they come back and say that Erica had no clue whatsoever, I will definitely make it a video apologizing to that woman, because I have really called her a liar so many times. And you know what? If a person is telling the truth, I shouldn't call them a liar like that. So if we find out that she did not know, I will apologize. I said I will make a 3-minute video apologizing to this woman. However, I think she's lying. I mean, maybe she didn't know everything like you said, but she had to have some sort of suspicion. You know, every woman has intuition about something. And maybe Tom was controlling for her, because we did see the way he talked to her, the way he tried to talk to Lisa Vanderpump. You know, he was a little controlling, totally. But the way she acts, she screams and yells at these women as if she's not afraid at all. And when Andy asked her that question, did you stay just for the money? She tried to say that no, she didn't stay just for the money, but he was controlling all of her money. And I don't buy it. If you wrote in your book that you have checkbooks, you're lying. And that you file tax returns, you had to look at those returns and know that you didn't have $20 million.
Okay, couple of things. I wonder if she had a ghostwriter and she just like signed off on it. Okay.
I think she showed her ghostwriter. I think she did have a ghostwriter.
Okay, because I was gonna say, I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just like I said, I look at both sides. So it may be a situation where now she has to own up to what actually was written. She may not have even read her own damn book. I don't know, you know.
Well, we know Tom didn't read it.
Okay. But then her sitting up here being so aggressive with the women, it could be her a projection. Yeah. Like sometimes bullies are being bullied somewhere else, and they're projecting that on like who they seem meek and mild, or who it's easier, you know. So that's a possibility. I just want to say that
it absolutely is.
And
maybe because she couldn't bully Tom, she can bully them, especially somebody like Sutton, who is non-confrontational.
Oh, and do you remember when Sutton, speaking of them being scared, because you were saying how you feel like Dorit and you feel like those women were scared of her. Do you remember in that shop when she took Kyle, she said, I think you are just afraid of Erica. And Kyle said, I'm not afraid of Erica. You're afraid of Erica. The person who runs away from her is afraid of Erica. And I was like, well, a person who runs away could be afraid, but I think that Sutton did act like she was a little scared, and it's okay to be afraid, which I wouldn't be. I'd be like, girl,
because Sutton's not a fighter.
Yeah, exactly.
She's not a fighter, and she's non-confrontational.
But at the same time, it's okay to walk away too.
It sure is.
You know what I'm saying? I think she just walked away. You know, and I don't think that was necessarily like, I'm afraid she's going to do something right here, right now at this table, but I'm not putting up with this mess.
I think she was afraid that Erica was going to do something, because I did see in another interview that she was considering hiring security for the reunion.
I heard that too.
Because supposedly Erica allegedly threatened her worse than what we saw on the show by whispering something to her in her ear. And Sutton is really timid, and she's old school. You know, she's not used to that. Me personally, I'm confrontational too, and I'll get right back in your face, ma'am. What are you going to do? Not much, you know, but Sutton is not that girl.
Let me ask you, because I think I know what Erica said. Now, there's in one of the clips, Andy is saying, we're going to put you on a skewer, and I'm going to turn up the gas, and we're going to, you know, barbecue you or whatever. I think that's what Erica said in her ear. I do.
Oh, wow.
Because first of all, it's the reunion, and I do feel like Sutton was like, I'll go ahead and say it now. I do feel like she said, I know that we saw her say, I will never repeat it,
Right.
but I feel like she got enough pressure to where she did say it. And when they show Erica's reaction, it's a little sly smile when he says that. And then she turns and looks away. And I'm like, that's what you said. That's what you said to her. That's what you said to her, that you was going to put her on the skewer.
I'm not shocked.
I really do. I really do. And I hope they don't say it for the fourth episode, but I think that's what she said. Like, I am really
not shocked at all. Erica is a different breed.
Talk.
She is, yeah, she's a talker. But, you know, it's something about Erica. I used to be such a huge fan of hers. And when people used to call her Ice Queen, I used to be so angry because I thought she was just misunderstood. I thought she was just misunderstood, and that she had probably been one of those girls who didn't get along with other girls because of, you know, she's so cute and everything, and that girls just didn't understand her. So I was trying to just totally love her. And then all of this happened. And the way she treated that woman this season was just too much for me. And especially when she just fell out of my head. When she was like
nice,
totally in this woman's face, lying to her about moving forward and becoming friends, but then talking to the camera saying that she doesn't care about this woman and her Southern, I mean, it was small town values or whatever. That was so crazy. I said, well, why lie to her face? And she tried to say it was because she didn't want to ruin the trip for everybody. Well, not, because y'all's trips are always ruined anyway. I mean, just tell the truth. It was just too much for me.
It was, because I thought there was hope there. You know, when
me too.
And I was like, oh, she's getting over it, because you really can't. I don't understand why Erica is upset with Sutton. I really don't. The only thing is that I can see where Sutton was, where she could kind of be irritated, is that she did all of that behind her back instead of coming straight to her. See, right. I'm the type, I'll come to you. I'm not going to go and do all this talking behind the back. That's and that was a lot of effort too, gathering the whole team and
whole group together without her knowing.
Honey, I could pick up the phone and say, girl, you want to have lunch? Because I need to talk to you. You know, that's what I would do. And we could have, the cameras could be there. We could have a one-on-one. That's what I wish Sutton had done, but it would not have been as dramatic.
It definitely wouldn't. And I think that the only reason why she's really on Sutton's back is because Sutton was the only one who was really questioning. I mean, the other girls were questioning too, but they were questioning behind her back. And when Sutton pulled out the paperwork, I mean, the rest of the ladies, especially Kyle, she kept on complaining about the length of the LA Times article. And I said, well, ma'am, don't you read?
That's what I was like, can you read?
Had been that you had to take 20 minutes to read this article. Ow. You're in movies, for goodness sakes. You know a script is about 100 pages. What is going on?
And these days, our little smartphones, they do read out loud stuff.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And then she said that she talked to her lawyer. Then on the reunion, you find out that Crystal talks to a lawyer. We already knew that Kyle talked to Faye's husband, a lawyer. And it was okay, I guess, for Kyle and Crystal to consult a lawyer, but it was against her every being for Sutton to talk to a lawyer. That just didn't make sense to me.
But let me say, let's go back just a little bit, because you said that Sutton was the only one that questioned her. You remember Garcelle did too. And Garcelle questioned her. First of all, they had some little scenes that they spliced in where, like with the cheating, you know, we didn't see that until it was time to show us.
Tom called her. They spliced the audio in.
Yeah, and so then, no, not that one. When Crystal told, because you know Garcelle came a day late, and she came in that little whole bodysuit to their
COVID protection suit.
Hilarious, yeah. And so her and Crystal were in a hotel, I guess, next to each other, and they would go over together. Well, Crystal was trying to bring Garcelle up to, you know, what she missed, try to catch her up. And she said, yeah, Tom's been cheating. And Garcelle said, really? She said, because I asked her, and she said he wasn't cheating. Okay, so, and then they spliced that in.
And they brought that up on the reunion tonight.
They did. Now, here's another thing. So Garcelle questioned the mess out of her on that mountaintop.
Oh yeah, she wanted to know what was going on for sure.
On that mountaintop, just bam, bam, like she was a police officer. And I kind of, I kind of felt like Garcelle was doing a little too much. Like I was thinking, pull it back a little bit.
Yeah, because you gotta be stealth when you're trying to dig out the information. Garcelle said, I'm trying to get all I can get. This might be the only time this woman talks to us.
I was like, did the FBI hire you, girl? Are you undercover?
That is the truth.
Did she work for the truth? I mean, not work for, but she was on New York Undercover, so she back in them days. But and then she got cussed out. Or they said Erica wasn't talking to her. I'm like, but yes, she was when she said, you want a effing moment.
Yeah, that was horrible. I hated the way she acted. And then I felt worse when Garcelle started crying. And I said, this is not okay. Then Erica starts crying too. And then all the girls rush to Erica's aid. I said, well, what is happening here? That was just too much for me.
The Karen-ness of it all.
Yeah, it was a lot going on. When they brought it up tonight on the show, when Andy said, why did you lie to Garcelle when she asked you about Tom cheating? She said because of the woman that Tom was dating, which I guess allegedly was that judge. That
but then you put it on your damn.
Yeah, she put that on Instagram, and I guess those attorneys told her, do you know who this judge lady is? Get that mess down. She took it down real quick, but not quick enough, because there is always somebody screen grabbing.
Absolutely.
And it was everywhere. Absolutely. That lady threatened to sue her.
But why
I wouldn't mess with a judge.
I wouldn't either. But why is it that what's the difference between those moments? Oh, she said she was angry, right? Okay. Because I was gonna say you because of who it was, so you had some good sense when you were talking to Garcelle, but then lost your sense when it came to your social media. She's inconsistent. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Even though I do like to see it from both sides, her inconsistency is killing me.
It's just too hard for her to keep up with all of this. And I know that she stayed on this season because she probably does need the money from this season. But This would have been the best season for her to take a break, just for legal purposes. You never know in the height of the moment when you say something, and they're wearing those microphones from the moment they start to the end. And, the lawyers for the trustees have subpoenaed Bravo for all of the unedited footage. But I hear allegedly the victims' attorneys have subpoenaed Bravo for all the unedited footage as well. And they said that, they're getting some information from this footage. Like the unedited footage that the unreleased footage that they let us see when Sutton offered Erica money. And I thought that was very nice of Sutton. I really do. But now that you mention it, maybe Sutton should have set something up privately with Erica and just said, I've heard about what's going on and these are my thoughts. And I did reach out to an attorney, because maybe if she would have brought it to Sutton that way, maybe you should have brought it to Erica that way. Then Erica wouldn't have been all over her the way she was. But I still think that when she found out about that meeting, I think she knew when she came to Dorit's event. I think Lisa had already told her, because when she came there, she seemed to be already in full armor and ready for whatever they were going to say or do. So I think Lisa Rinna was going back behind the scenes telling everything.
Definitely. 100%. First of all, let me say, on one of those after shows or whatever, Sutton told Garcelle that Erica knew already when she walked through the door. And Garcelle said, really, you think so? She said she had on a headband. She wore a headband. And it took me like a minute. I was like, what does a headband have to do with anything? What I think is that the rushing of I don't care how I look. She had on a long sleeve, a headband and a short skirt. And, she was like,
I thought she was wearing a headband because she was trying to act as if she was an angel. You know how when people are criminals and they go to court,
that's a possibility. But I think she
look at her trying to act all as if she's innocent with this headband.
Headband. That's what she said. She had on a headband. You know, she's like, come on, Garcelle. And I'm like, headband, but she did know. Now, in that preview, Erica, in the preview for this reunion, Erica said, it's going to come up that, you told me that these girls have turned against you. And Lisa was like, yeah, that'll come up. I think that's what they're talking about. But I also think that Dorit told Erica too. Now, I ain't got no proof of this, but my only proof is it was at Dorit's house. And then when it came time to say what she said, she talked in circles and didn't say what she said. And I think she was just saying whatever she said to like Erica I think she told Erica too. I do. I really, really do. Because
I think at the time when Garcelle said, that's not what you said.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a mess. I was so happy Garcelle called her out on that. That was crazy because she was trying to change it. She was trying to spice it up a little bit so that it didn't seem as if she was saying anything bad. And I thought, Dorit, if you do not stop this is crazy.
I feel like the reason why, and we may never know, but I feel like Dorit made a phone call to her too. I really do.
She probably did.
Because it was at her house, and I think she felt like guilty about it.
What I didn't like either was that final episode when Erica said that she was going to go to Crystal's party and she was not going to have any problems with Sutton. And then here's Kyle at the table. Well, Sutton said that you still lied. And then when Erica treats Sutton like crap at the dinner, she's in the bathroom talking to Sutton saying, I don't know why she's acting like this, because you revved her up again and threw Sutton under the bus again. That's why. And I don't know why she would not, when Sutton apologized to her, why couldn't she just say, thank you so much, Sutton. We'll talk about this later. At this woman's event, you have all of these elderly people here. Why are you acting so rude and ill-mannered at this dinner? I mean, these people do not come here to watch you act the fool. I just didn't like that.
They ain't got much time left. No, I'm just kidding.
Shut up.
They ain't got time, Lord. They ain't got time for that. Oh my Lord.
She was just doing too much. This whole thing was too much. And I did appreciate that Andy brought up Dorit saying that she has all these people of color working for her, because that really ticked me off. Right in the middle of this serious open conversation, you mentioned the people of color that work for you that your children know and that your mama has a black friend. Ma'am, this is ridiculous. Okay, so tonight on the reunion, she says that she chose her words wrong, and if she could take it back, she would, but that she's been raised in a diverse, her life has been diverse this whole time, and she's raising her kids that way. That's not how you act. Your behavior does not come off as you being diverse. I'm just saying.
At all.
She is very... Her last reunion, last part of the reunion, all I got was a whole bunch of microaggressions. She was coming off on Garcelle, and it didn't seem as if she had had any diversity training, period. I'm just saying.
No, and Lord, I was going to ask you something. So, you know what I want to know? Okay, so there was a part where Erica, they talked about the surgery, what's his name? Whether he should have brain surgery or not. Yeah. And Erica had said, I call my dear, dear friend who's an orthopedic. And he said, I'll get to him later. Like, not right now. I'll work on him next week. Did he get worked on? Because
poor Tom.
First of all, I don't think Tom need no working on. I think that was shoe polish under his eye with that picture.
Listen, she said that was from that car accident. But remember, her very first story was that in that car accident, when he hit that switchback and went over the cliff and behind the house, he broke an ankle.
Pushback. I saw it.
He broke an ankle. That's what she said originally.
She did.
Then all of a sudden there was brain trauma, but then she said that when he had that break-in, he confronted the burglar.
Yeah,
but later after that episode aired, the police who filled out the police report, they said that he never came in contact with a burglar. They said they closed the case because there was no evidence. He, according to them, allegedly, Tom told them that somebody was in his closet. He thought it was his son. He called out to his son, and then somebody ran out. He never actually, according to the article I read, allegedly, he never even confronted this burglar. So she said he confronted the burglar in her first story, and then he got hurt and he had to get his eye surgery. But later, when Lisa Rinna retold the story, she said because he was so stressed out, the pressure went to his eye that he's got.
I was going to say, did they poke him in the eye?
And then he went to surgery for it. I said, well, what happened to confronting the burglar? The police said that there was no evidence.
This is juicy. This is good. I didn't know that. You know what? Maybe I adopted kind of Erica's attitude. I didn't dig into that because I was just like, I was afraid of what I was going to find.
Oh my gosh.
Or not find.
It's just, it's a lot. You know what I mean? Her story.
You shouldn't have even done that.
Sometimes they're just fantastical. You know, the snow in Pasadena, then he flips 5 times, then he flips 6 times, and then Kyle and Dorit tell the story and the flips was 4 times. I mean, it's a bad game of telephone. And the one thing that I will never forget is everything that comes out of Erica's mouth. You have bobblehead Rinna in the back like this.
Yes.
Girl, shut up and stop moving your head. You do not know this for fact.
Yes.
These ladies have driven me crazy, and I am so ticked off that there's 2 parts left.
Now, I want to ask you a couple of questions. Your opinion. Okay. Garcelle. Okay. How do you feel about Garcelle throwing the jabs in her confessionals? Now, I know that they all do it. They are claiming that she does it more than others. Me personally, I'd like for her to say that stuff to their face. But do you think it's more or less? Or how are you feeling about these jabs? Because even on Watch What Happens Live, she said, Dorit will never get to yell at me again. I'll tell you that. Girl, why didn't you tell her right then?
Right. I think that Garcelle's jabs are very entertaining.
They are.
I think that they all do it. However, I think that it will work out better for her if she would just say it in the moment, you know, right to their face, because it looks a little two-faced behind this when they watch it later. But at the same time, they're doing it to her.
They all do it.
They're
and
doing
you know what
it to the rest of the women. And so if it's two-faced for her, it's two-faced for them. But Garcelle, I think she's too nice of a lady to say it to their face. And I think she's also trying to make sure that she is not putting forth that quote angry Black woman facade. So she tries to keep it classy all the time. But there has been some points throughout the season that I wanted her to put all of that to the back and bring Garcelle from Haiti out. You know, I'm like, girl, level her. You know what? She does such a great job in the confessionals. Say it to their face. What are they going to do?
I agree with you wholeheartedly. And then I had to ask myself this, because we know that they all do it. And so I'm going to speak for myself right now. Okay. So when I see them do it, I'll be like, them bitches, you know, that's just how they are. They just two-faced, you know, and I don't get all worked up over them doing it because I kind of expected, like we've seen their shows, different franchises. That's what they do. They just shade down in those confessionals.
Absolutely.
But when Garcelle does it, I am upset and I want her to say to their face. Now, then I got to ask myself, do I expect more of her because she's the only Black woman and then these white women are treating her this way and I want her to defend herself? Like, it moves me in a different way when Garcelle
where you're coming from.
To their
I get where you're coming from. I don't think that you expect more of her. I think that you just don't like the way they disrespect her. So you want her to stick up for herself more.
Yeah.
You want her to feel assertive enough to say, Dorit, you talk too much. I'm sick of you. Crystal, I didn't know who you were before you got on this show. And she should be able to say it. I mean, they wouldn't hesitate to say it to her. I think that she just needs to try her next season to just give as much as she can, because no matter what happens, these ladies are going to say what they're going to say anyway. So if they're saying something that's out of turn to her, she should feel that she can say back to them, you know, how she feels about them. It's not fair that they can disrespect her and she just kind of lays low and tries to take the high road all the time. Sometimes I think you do have to get low a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. She needs to gather the girls. That's what I say all the time. She needs to gather the girls. I feel like if she gathered them like at least one good time, gather all the edges, just gather them, I feel like they would back up.
Absolutely. That's the typical bully. Bullies will bully you until you whoop their butt. You know, once you stand up to a bully, they just pale. They curl up into a ball and they want to be your play cousin. You know, and she has got to do that to the girls.
Yes. And the thing is, I'm going to say, I thought she would come that way this season because she was in an interview before the season started. And she said that Lisa Rinna told her that we always come after people their sophomore season. And she said, she told her, bring it, I'm ready. So I thought, ooh, yes, it's going to be good. You know, sipping my little tea and everything, like, oh, this is going to be good. And she did good in the confessionals, but like face-to-face combat was a 0. And then she tried to exit a couple of times. And I'm like, don't run. Well, first of all, wait a minute, because I know I sound like a hypocrite because I was defending Sutton for walking away. I understand sometimes. See, this is where I get all tricky with myself.
Well, it's different though, because Sutton just physically walked away. There was a couple of times where Garcelle was actually thinking about leaving the show. So it's a difference.
Yeah, I see. I didn't know that.
She was thinking about leaving allegedly this next season coming too. But I think she should stay and just let it play out. I think that she's got to go into this next season being armed and ready, you know, mentally ready. And the same for Crystal, because it will be her sophomore season next season, and they will come for her.
I want them to come for Crystal. Crystal's been flip-floppy.
Yeah, I'm 50-50 with her. Sometimes I absolutely love her, and I love seeing her culture. And then other times when she brought up that Garcelle's confessional, or when she continued to lay on Sutton about coming in her room. And I thought, can you let this woman live? Okay,
let the mouse
said she was sorry. Stop it. Yes, let the mouse go with your ugly pants. Which I don't see. I don't know about those pants. I have 0 fashion sense. Those could be some lovely pants. I'm just saying. That's what
they were ugly leather pants. Ugly leather pants.
But Sutton wears dresses with like doilies on them. So she really can't judge people's fashion.
What was, you know what I want to know? What do you think Crystal meant when she said that Sutton, you're just jealous? What was she jealous of? Like, I know it ain't the ugly leather pants.
Yeah, what was she jealous of? Maybe she was saying she was jealous because her husband directed The Lion King. You know, she kept bringing that up over and over again. I have no idea. You know, I think that Dorit, Lisa, Kyle, and Erica, I think they're jealous of Garcelle because Garcelle and Sutton are the fan favorites. And I really think that Lisa and Dorit are against that. They are not happy about it. But this season, the crown goes to Garcelle and Sutton. You know what? Kyle thinks she's the queen of the show, but no, ma'am.
I'm going to say Sutton. And the reason why is because I am stuck on really wanting, I'm tired of Garcelle saying things behind the scenes and not to the face. I feel like if we were to rank them, Sutton and Garcelle, who said more to the face that they said in confessionals, I'd have to give it to Sutton. I think Sutton said more to people's face than she than Garcelle did to the face. You know, like
I think Sutton did because she had to. The ladies kept throwing her under the bus every chance she got. And Garcelle's stuff was actually filmed after in production. So they didn't know what Garcelle was doing or saying until after they watched the show. But at the same time, I thought it was real shady that they even brought it up, because Dorit was throwing some zingers in her confessionals. And I remember in one confessional, Lisa Rinna called Garcelle a bitch. So if you can call her a bitch in your confessional, why can't she say what she wants to say in hers?
Did you catch in the very beginning, producers had asked Crystal in one of her confessionals if she knew Dorit, and I think they had something that Beppo. I don't know how to say it. Yeah. Okay, and so they were asking her if she knew what Beppo was, and do you know who Dorit is? And she said, I've never heard of her. So
yep, I remember that.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
I got the deep voice going. And she said that at the table, that she didn't know Sutton. And then when Garcelle mentions that none of us knew who you were either, then all of a sudden she was offended by that. How can you be offended by that when you said the same thing about Dorit and Sutton? The same thing. I mean, she's Crystal. I ride the fence with her a lot. Some episodes I am totally into her, especially when she's showing her family, her customs, her food, and her kids. I really like that part. And I did feel terrible about her being bullied online. You know, all those hate messages and everything that she received, I thought was totally wrong.
Yeah,
but I agree. To me, she's more entertaining than Teddy was the whole time Teddy was on.
A pencil is more entertaining than Teddy. Girl, do you think
Teddy was doing too much? I wasn't a fan. No, ma'am.
Too much and not enough at the same time.
I know. I say that too. I said it's sad when you're too much and not enough. Can't you get something in the middle?
Just Dorit's nose.
I don't care. That picture looks like she had something done to it. But I was really ticked when her doctor told her her nose was. When her doctor said that nose was wide, I said, that woman's nose doesn't look wide to me. I don't understand it. I really don't. If her nose was smaller, she'd look a little bit like Michael Jackson. Ooh. And I don't mean anything bad by it. But, you know, at the end, his nose was real tiny.
It fell off.
Just saying.
It fell off.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Michael Jackson. I didn't mean anything bad by it, but you know.
Okay, yes, honey, don't come down and moonwalk on me.
Yes, please don't. Oh my God, I don't want any smooth criminal moments.
Now Garcelle, what I took away, like overall, I was looking at them on the couch. Garcelle did look a little uncomfortable. Now, of course, she looked uncomfortable when Rinna sat next to her, and she even said, "What am I going to say? She's right next to me."
Oh my God!
But besides that, just sitting there when you know how the camera pans out and they show them, Garcelle was like, and I'm like, ew, she doesn't look comfortable, in my opinion. Yeah.
Maybe she should have had another one of those tequilas to loosen up, get a little loose.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing I thought about that, and I was like, did that actually end up hindering her? Because she really didn't have much
She didn't have a lot going on. There wasn't a lot of storyline either.
I was wondering, would she have been sharper with her words without the alcohol, like more concentrated? And let me dig into.
She drank that alcohol for a little bit of courage. And I don't think it worked, because when Dorit yelled at her
mind was
jumped off my couch, because I said, "Who are you talking to, ma'am?" And I thought, Garcelle, when are you going to say something? When are you going to get back in her face? Like, you cannot yell at this woman like this. It was just, I really do believe that Garcelle has had PR training, media training, and she uses that with these ladies. And I think that she has to remember that this is supposed to be your real life. You can be your real self when you're with these women. You have to. Otherwise, they're just going to keep walking over you. And they have gotten real comfortable talking greasy to her. And I don't like it.
Is that her real self?
I don't know. Maybe her real self is relaxed like that.
But see, well, wait a minute. That ain't relaxed. Let me tell you something. Because I'll be relaxed. And I just laugh at a person if they, not worth my time. Because I'll tell you, ain't even, sit down and hush. But Garcelle comes from folks in her confessional, so she's bothered. Because if you're not bothered, you're not gonna talk about it anymore. You know what I mean? But she attacks them, or not attack, that's not the word I want to use, but she has things to say in her confessional, which lets me know that she does feel a certain type of way. And I'm just constantly trying to figure out why doesn't she present it? But I do think it has to do with what you said earlier, which is none of us want to look like the angry Black woman, because we step out the house and that's already
exactly
on us.
And in her career choices, if you get labeled as an angry Black woman or someone who's difficult to work with, that can blackball you in Hollywood. And maybe that's something that she's trying not to get that stigma.
She shouldn't be on the show then.
That's a way of looking at it. I mean, remember when Kim Fields was on The Real Housewives of Atlanta? I couldn't wait for her to go. I really liked her, but she was just too... Yeah, it was too much. I mean, her and her family dynamic was a little odd, and I mean, it was a lot going on. Remember, she couldn't leave them for anything. Like a trip was too much. 2 days was too long to be away from her husband.
I think she just it was a lot. I don't know why I did the leaning. I think she just didn't want to be around them. I think she just didn't want to be. I think that was an excuse.
Maybe what do you think? She just wanted the check, but she didn't want to be with the girls. It could be.
I think Kenya was too much for her. And
that lady is too much for a lot of people.
Yeah, she is. And then she pulled that chair and called her husband gay. And I'm like, girl. I was
Kenya she's crazy, but Kenya is good TV. She really is. I got to give it to her. Kenya is good TV. Oh my God. Is she still on Dancing with the Stars, or has she been voted off? Oh.
I don't like Kenya. But you know
I don't watch that.
I compare Kenya and Giselle together. Like, I compare them. Like, to me, they're kind of the same. But for whatever reason, I can stomach Giselle. I can't stomach Kenya.
I think that Kenya and Giselle have a lot in common, but Kenya's smarter than Giselle. I think that I can stomach Kenya more than Giselle. For some reason, this whole thing lately, when she was having that party out in her front driveway, and she said that Karen and Whitney couldn't use her bathroom, but then she made a big deal about her room not having a bathroom. And I said, this the same woman who you told if she needed to go to the restroom, she couldn't come in your house. Girl, get out of here. And it's something about the way Robin follows Giselle's lead that irritates me. You are a grown woman with children. Why are you doing everything and amening everything that this other woman says?
It's weird.
Have your own backbone. This is ridiculous. Why are you standing up for this? And then the way she acted out at that house, talking about there's men here. Well, you knew there was going to be men here with you and your luggage. You knew that. And you should have stayed home. She has all these complications. Stay home. That would have solved everything. I think Bravo told her, if you don't get your butt down here, we pay you to be on this show.
Yeah. And gosh, what's her name? Wendy said that all the women had said that they were going to come, and they just came late.
They did, because remember she showed, Giselle sent her a text saying she wasn't coming. And then Robin sent a text that said she wasn't coming. And then the last minute, she decides to come. And Wendy told her, she said, everybody picked their own room. You came last, so you got stuck with a room that doesn't have a private bathroom. That is her own fault.
Do you think, okay, you know, Giselle was like, the host wasn't welcoming and all this kind of stuff. And she was like, that's a lie. You know, Wendy was like, that's a lie, was. And I know we're talking about something else, you know.
We'll just switch up the title, honey. We're going to talk
about plus, no, but what do you think about, okay, so let me say what I think. Wendy was not welcoming, but at the same time, Giselle was not welcoming.
Right.
Would you have stayed if you had a boot and had to go downstairs to the restroom?
I think that even though she didn't have her own personal room, Ashley had her own room to herself, and she had a bathroom there, and it was on the same floor. And Ashley offered them her bathroom.
She did.
And if it was so serious with her and her boots, I am pretty sure if she asked Ashley if they could switch rooms, she would have let her because of her broken toe. I think that she wanted a moment. And I think that she just wanted to have the center of attention for a while, her and Robin, because all of Robin's excuses didn't make sense. You knew that you were on your cycle when you came. You knew that you were a supposed germaphobe before you got there. You also knew that all these husbands were going to be here. So if you really were that uncomfortable, you should have stayed home. Period.
I want to know. Did she really see pee all over the place?
I doubt it. I think she just said that to use that as an excuse.
Because her son.
My favorite part of that episode was when Ray said, Giselle said you broke her toe. How did you miss the neck? That was my favorite part. I said, yes, Ray. Ray coming through with something comical.
That was hilarious.
Funny. The other high point of that episode was when Mia said that Candace had some maturing to do, and then she goes and rats Robin out to Wendy. I said, it looks like you have some maturing to do too, ma'am. Why did you run up there to tattle? They were finally with all their husbands having a good time eating and drinking, and you had to come and stir up some trouble.
Okay, I agree with you. And the thing about it is, let me say this, okay? If you are going to try to be a bone collector, you need to get it right. You need to say what was said if you're going to do that.
Well, she's learning. She's trying to take that title from Ashley, because you seen how Ashley hurried up and told Robin, Mia heard what you said. She came up here and told everybody. I said, oh my, thanks a lot, Ashley, because Ashley is going to claim that role forever.
You know who I think whose place she wants to take now, and yes, she's reaching mighty high, in my opinion, but I think she's trying to take Giselle's place.
I wish somebody would. I wish they would get her off in here. Her and Robin. Robin has been on here for 6 seasons without one storyline.
Well, I want to see them get married. Even if he don't show up, I want to see their wedding.
Are they getting married? I thought it was so funny when she disinvited Wendy to the wedding that's not happening. I said, you haven't bought a flower. How are you uninviting this woman to this wedding?
I know. I you know what? I don't know why I felt sorry for her in that moment, because it was such delusion to where I was just like, oh, it was one of those like, bless your heart.
Not the delusion. Oh, okay.
It was like on a major way, like, girl, none of us believe that, like, raise your hand if you think she's gonna have a wedding.
No. I called Giselle Regina George. And when they were on that boat, and she said that Wendy was rude and aggressive, and Wendy said, you're just a mean bully. And I said, that's the truth, Regina George. She really is. The thing is they love to dish it, but they can't take it. And I said, Giselle, you are not prepared for the 4 degrees. This woman is going to give you that same energy. And Giselle is so used to dominating and getting in these girls' face and saying all kinds of craziness without having a lot of rebuttal. But it's not going to work with Wendy. Wendy and her 1 wig, and Giselle, and Karen and her 3 wigs. I told the peeps, I said, you know what? I'm going to get me a candle. It's going to be 4 wigs because I have to compete.
Let's talk about the wigs. For real. Now, do you feel like I feel like Karen was not copying Wendy. I don't feel like she was throwing shade at Wendy. Now she does say 3 wick a lot, but I feel like she is trying to help Wendy come up, with like empowerment and all that. But I feel like she won't let her forget that, like, I'm up here. I'm gonna help you come here, but I'm up here. I feel like there is a little bit of that, but I don't feel like Karen is throwing any shade at Wendy's candle. How do you feel?
Well, I think that Karen did always have her candle in the works.
Yeah.
However, I do think that she wants Wendy to be successful, but I do think she's throwing shade. Now, Karen, I'm going to tell you, I'm biased because she's my favorite of that franchise.
Me
But the
too.
way she's always comparing her 3 wicks to her one, and then she made this comment that her candle was going to be retail at Bloomingdale's, and that Wendy's candle was just going to be online. And I said, why do you keep bringing it up? Stop bringing it up. And she says, she does have a nice candle. It's just 1 wick. Stop saying that. It is a beautiful candle, and Karen's candle is beautiful too. And just
It
let the
is.
woman go. Let the woman go. I mean, she's shading her, but she's
You
also
think?
trying to be supportive at the same time. I think she really wants the best for Wendy and her
I
candle.
think so too. I think so
Yeah.
too. I really, really do. But the way Wendy was looking at him, whenever she brought up her kid, she was like giving some like fierce side eye, and I'm like, are y'all cool
Yeah.
or not? You
And
know,
she thinks it's funny. I think that Karen thinks it's a little funny because Wendy, the queen of the degrees, could not figure out a business plan or any of this. And so she
that
had to
wasn't
ask
right.
Karen for assistance. And I think Karen really appreciated that here she is, Dr. Wendy, is asking for her advice. And it was kind of
Yeah,
cute, especially when she was talking to Eddie. And Eddie said, nope, no.
yeah. I didn't like that. I,
Oh, Wendy.
I was disappointed, and let me tell you something. Wendy last season got on my nerves
Yes.
with the 4 degrees, call me doctor, and uh,
It
that
was a lot.
it was. But this season, I was like, oh, okay, you're better now. But it was so disappointing when it seemed like she didn't know anything about the business.
Yeah, and it
She
felt
could
to
have
me because
googled some
remember
stuff.
her first season, she kept saying classes in session, and I thought you couldn't even Google how to write a business plan. I mean, what is going on here? At the beginning of the season, I was not Team Wendy because I didn't like her from her first season, and then she was so much about her boobies and butts, and it just seemed a little odd. But as the season progressed, I said, you know what? I like Wendy. I like how she is defending herself, even though I thought that she owed Monique a major apology because she kept calling Monique aggressive and she kept
Mm-hmm.
saying that Monique physically threatened somebody and she physically threatened Mia within like the first 3 episodes. And I
And
said, well,
Giselle,
don't you owe Monique an apology? You threatening women and being aggressive. But
and
other
Giselle.
than that, I'm Team Wendy this season, and I'm shocked by that.
And I'm gonna say this. I honestly think that when her breasts were choking her when they were on vacation or whatever, when the ladies were telling her, they were concerned about the chokeness.
And that bodysuit.
Yeah. Oh, girl. Okay. I can only do one fashion crime at a time. I think she accidentally ordered a couple of sizes too small. I really do. I really, really, really do. Like I don't believe that she like tried that on and thought that was great. I think it was an accident, and that was her outfit for that day. And they're filming, and she just had to go with it.
What
Just
was
had
the
to go with
excuse for that bodysuit? She said, this was cute. I got it from Zara.
it. Nothing. If I had a ticket to give her, a fashion ticket, she'd have it because that was awful.
I have zero fashion sense, but I can tell you that
Nothing.
outfit
No, that
looked
wasn't
very
right.
uncomfortable. She
It.
kept having to pull it out and everything else. I said, oh, ma'am, that just looks so painful.
Speaking of fashion in that suit, right? To me, and I could be by myself. Everybody, Sages and peeps, let me know. Candace's reunion dress, doesn't it favor that? She has something going on right there.
Yeah, I saw that.
And
I
I
didn't know
said,
what
are
that
you mocking
was.
her? I was
What
like,
was happening with that? Who did you think was the best dress for their
I was
reunion?
like, don't you ask me. The best, okay, this is unpopular opinion, but I liked Mia's dress. I did. I liked it.
I have an unpopular opinion also.
Who?
Do
You better
not
not say
kill me, okay,
You better
Sagey?
not say just, huh?
Don't you judge me. I thought it was Robin.
Oh, for grandma.
I liked her dress.
For granny, yeah.
And
Smooth
because
granny.
I think the reason I liked her dress was because the rest of the girls' dresses, they all kind of favored. They all seem to be going the same theme a
Yeah.
little bit. And I said, well, at least they're in the same theme and the same color pattern
Yeah.
versus what was going on over at Beverly Hills. So, and then I
Ugh,
thought, this is the best Robin has looked the whole season.
that's the
And
truth.
so I was really
That's the
giving
truth.
it to Robin, but I was not a fan of Giselle's outfit at all.
And you know what? Even though I said granny, it is kind of giving me granny vibes, but classy granny though. Very
Right,
classy.
right, right. A
And
little
that is
white diamonds classy.
it is. It is like, you know, a little bit of
Everybody's
old
grandmother has white diamond or youth do. One of the two.
Not me. You know what? My mom and my grandma, they do. But yes, very, yes. Yeah, and you're right. That is the best that she's looked. That is. It is. That's the
Yeah,
truth.
she looked great compared
That's
to
the
how
truth.
she has been this whole season.
Now, someone who should have went a little more regal. That's the word I'm gonna use because I like her. It's
I know what
Karen.
you're about to say. I know. I thought
Karen,
it was a little short
shake your
for
tail
my
feather.
taste.
That's like shake your tail feather.
Yeah,
What was
I
that?
agree.
And people
I
call
hate to say it, but I agree because Karen
people
is my
call
girl.
people call Mia's just a peacock. But I'm like the peacock was that I don't know was that a tail? I don't know. And I hope it was detachable. Like I was thinking, just take it off. Just
I
like
don't know.
Velcro, just take it off.
It seemed that most of the girls' outfits did look as if they were all by the same designer because they all had such a similar style. And I thought, well, where did you guys get these dresses? Did you all go shopping at the same time?
Outlet.
Same place? It was just weird.
Riley Knox. Are you familiar with Riley Knox?
No.
Okay. She is
he a designer? Oh, is she a designer?
Yes.
Okay.
What happened? Okay, this is what had happened was, do you remember last season, Riley Knox was really good friends with Monique. And the yellow, that yellow, Monique's dress, did you like it?
I did like it.
Riley did that. Now, Riley is a performer. She's a Beyonce impersonator or whatever.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so she designs her own stuff because she's now don't come from me, y'all. I'm trying to say these terms right. She's a transgender. And so she was saying how a lot of times she can't find things in her measurements. And so she makes all of her own costumes. Her and Monique are good friends. Monique asked her to make a yellow dress, and she made that yellow dress. Once she made that yellow dress, honey, that put her on the map. And so everyone started asking her to make dresses, make couture. And so she decided to go ahead and make dresses for other people. Ashley's dress is made by Riley Knox. Also, do you watch Married to Medicine?
I do.
Okay. Last season, now see, I'm because I don't want to laugh.
Are you about to tell me that Lisa Nicole made something?
No, Riley Knox designed 2 of those dress Married to Medicine's reunion. What's her name? Toya. Toya's dress was made by Riley Knox and Simone.
I don't think that I like Simone's dress.
I didn't either.
But I can't remember what Toya's dress looked like.
I wasn't crazy about it. It was just tulle.
I'm not a big fan of all that tulle. I'm really not. I mean, maybe if we were still in middle school or something. I'm
Like
sorry, I'm being, you bring out the
no,
rude in me. Oh
no.
my gosh, the peeps are going to be
I'm
shocked.
agreeing with you, but I'm just letting you know, like, so Riley nice. I'm disappointed. I like her because she reviews some of these housewife shows too. Like, I found her as a YouTuber, and I didn't even know she knew Monique and all that.
Oh wow.
But I loved Monique's dress, and I'm sorry, maybe that was like the bar. Maybe that bar was set so high, and like she's designing other people's dresses for their reunions, and it's not. She did Ashley's. This reunion, she did Ashley's.
Maybe she's just in a little bit of a rut, or maybe
Just
she's just really overwhelmed because these
oh,
people are coming, to her, and she's so
yeah.
used to just designing for herself. So maybe it'll just take some time for her to get used to it, because most of those dresses looked almost the same. And I don't know, but I am really, congratulations to her for being able to move forward like this and get these, dresses out here for mainstream people. Maybe, as Karen says, maybe she could go on the internet and we could order her dresses online.
4 weeks.
I mean, because she's not at Bloomingdale's, she doesn't have a 3-wick.
Girl.
I'm just saying.
But you know what she did? In all fairness, I just want to say this real quick for Simone, because a lot of people, and okay, let me not speak for everybody else, what I heard, but me, Simone's dress was the least that I liked. It was just a bunch of satin with a cape.
And was it also the hair that went with it?
Yeah.
I think the hair didn't go good with that dress.
But Riley came out and said numerous times that is what Simone wanted. Gotcha. So I was like, oh.
You got to give your client what they want.
Well, do you? Because you could say, because I be watching Project Runway, and I'm not getting ready to jump.
They usually get kicked off. The ones on Project Runway to give the client what they want, they get kicked off.
Kick me out. It was a make it work moment, and I don't feel like it made it work. Like, I could give her some satin, but we're not gonna do all of that with a Superman satin cape.
Maybe she should go on Project Runway, because I have seen many contestants give the client what they asked for and get sent home.
Yes, and Tim Gunn would say, like, or one of them judges would say, you shouldn't have did that. No. They sometimes they tell them you need to convince them to step outside of their box, and I think Simone should have gotten a whole different box. Left that box on the corner.
That's the only dress that I remember, and I only remember it because I thought it was I just didn't like it that much. And then I thought that her hair didn't go with that dress. It just didn't. And I can't even remember which dress I liked the most out of the women on that reunion.
Everybody said Dr. Heavenly. They was saying Dr. Heavenly won. Dr. Heavenly said, I believe she said she spent over $20,000. She said that she spent enough money to be the winner.
$20,000 on that dress?
Well, not the everything.
Oh, all together?
Yeah, all of. Yes, and she said she got tired of, because Dr. Helen got a YouTube channel too.
Yes.
And she said she had got tired of people talking about her and coming for her, and so she went all out last reunion.
And the internet can be very, very hard out here.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a YouTuber, and sometimes people get down in our comments and they are absolutely rude. Yes. And they wouldn't be that nasty if it was face to face. And it's usually people who don't have a profile picture that will get in your comments and read you for filth. And you're thinking, well, what did I do to you?
Well, I tell them thanks for watching.
Thank you for the view.
Yeah, bless your heart. But when I first started, I did actually try to have dialogue with someone till I realized it took me a minute to realize I think this is a troll, because nothing I said mattered.
Was appeasing them. Exactly.
Yeah, they just kept coming at, and I was like, wait a minute, I think you crazy. Delete.
Yeah, all the peeps know that it's okay for them to disagree with me.
Yeah,
and you do not have to agree with me as long as you are respectful in your comments, letting me know that you disagree with me.
Yeah.
Now, as soon as you get disrespectful with me, I will be disrespectful with you and then block you and move on with my life. I love all of the peeps because they are always respectful. They have no problems getting down in the comments saying, Pia, I disagree with you because of X, Y, and Z. And a lot of times when they tell me that they disagree with me, I see it from their side and I realize I agree with them. They're right. I
Yeah.
didn't see it that way. But it's the ones that treat you like dirt that you're thinking, why are you being so rude to me? It's a TV show, for God's sakes. You don't know these people, do you?
Exactly. Fortunately for me, most of my stagies, they are all polite and everything. My biggest complaint is that I talk too much, but you know, I let them know that's why we all have a fast forward button, and I do because I like to explain things when because I do tarot with my I combine
you're gonna have to give me a reading.
I will. Yeah. But yeah, I do tarot and I'll review and do some background looking and check in and then do the tarot and everything. And I like to explain a lot because not everybody has the same level of understanding of the tarot. Right. So I go into a lot of explanation, and my sages who already know, they don't want to hear that. And so I'm like, but you have to remember not everyone has your level of comprehension. And I'm not
still have an option too at the very top of the video, those 3 dots. You can change the speed of the playback. So you can put it on like 1.5 and you can watch the video in half the time. You talk faster, but at 1.5, your voice still sounds almost the same. But it just goes through faster because there's a lot of YouTubers that I absolutely love, but their videos are forever long. So I just watch them in 4.5 speed. I mean, 1.5 speed, and it's great. It's great.
That's another option.
Yeah, because this video we're doing now is the longest video that I've ever had that will be posted to my channel. And so I'm letting the sages and the peeps know, hit the 3 dots at the top, put the playback to 1.5. You'll get through it in half the time.
You know, I've enjoyed this time though. I really, really, really have.
Me too. This is the first time that I've collabed with another YouTuber, and I'm very, very happy and thankful that you reached out to me. And I want to say thank you so much for the sages for putting up with me. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for the peeps for all of your support. And I think we'll be back next week.
Yes. Right. Definitely.
Perfect.
All right, and I echo the same for my sages. Thank you so much. My sages are used to my videos being this long. I will have timestamps because that's one thing that they asked me to do. And I was like, you know what? I can do that. I can do some timestamps.
You have to teach me how to do that.
It's real simple, and I will. But yes, and hello, peeps, and thank you for putting up with me. And you heard Pia say, you know, that fast forward that.
Absolutely.
But I promise that, you know, I'll try not to extend all the videos this long. But I had so much fun. I had a lot of fun.
I did too. I really enjoyed talking to you. And you have my phone number now, so we can text.
Yes.
And to the peeps, I am going to put a link to her channel in the comments.
Same.
And you guys who are interested in all things tarot and entertainment, because she's into the entertainment now. Click subscribe and like her video.
I echo the same. You know, I will do exactly the same with PiaTalks, okay? Because PiaTalks, I sages. If you love me, you'll love her. Okay. All right.
I can't wait till next week. See you sages later.
All right. Bye.